to take the phone
Okay,
and
close the door.
close the door.
Yep. John Howard? Maybe I better put up my chat in case you're trying to tell me something.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can hear you.
All right.
That's good.
Good. Good.
Let's see who else makes it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I mean, I'm going to call Marty and see if she's, if I got the number.
Okay, no, I got two more people right now just coming on. Boom, boom.
Okay. Then I'll chill.
No, you can call Marty. Love having Marty on.
Marti, blasted. I don't have her phone number. Damn. I got her email.
Okay. Hi, Joel. And Kevin, who's about to come on, is, oh, hi, Pat. Hey. And Kevin, who's about to come on now, is local in the area here, so watch your language.
What?
Kevin, can you hear me? Do you need me to unmute you? You need to unmute yourself.
I'm going to only be able to stay on until around 4:30 today, John, but
Oh, no, illegal. No, you can't leave. No.
you're here, you can't get out, right?
Right. We're going to lock the door behind you.
But I brought my book this time, so
All right, good.
I'm ready now.
All right, good. Thank you. Kevin, can you hear me? Oh, Kevin says, sorry, I do not have a mic. Okay. All right, good. I got you. And Kevin can hear us. Kevin is local. He was in my, when I was doing local meetings here at various places around town, Kevin would always show up until he got a job out of town, and then we never saw him again.
Well,
See, I can say things about you, Kevin, and you can't answer back. Oh, Marty is waiting. Here comes Marty.
Cool.
All right, good. Hey, Marty.
Hello.
Hi, Marty. Marty is from Florida. Joel is from LA area. Kevin is local here. And Howard is, you're LA also, right?
LA, Pasadena.
Pasadena, right? Pasadena, Altadena. Only
Altadena.
place I was ever actually shot at.
Uh-oh.
I don't even know why I mentioned it. Long story.
Marty, you're from Pasadena or Howard's from Pasadena?
Howard is.
Oh, I don't think you
Oh,
know.
Howard is here.
I live in Pasadena also.
Well, he's,
Yeah, actually, that's right. Joel is from Pasadena.
oh, cool. Howard's actually, I think, in like was it Eagle Rock? Howard, are you there?
Yes, I am. Eagle Rock,
Yeah,
California.
Eagle Rock.
Right next door.
Right.
Neighbors.
Right.
Nice.
And Marty is formerly from Sunland, Tahunga. That's where I met her.
Yep.
In that area also.
Where are you in Florida, Marty?
I'm in Clearwater.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. I guess, well, it's 1 minute after. I guess we can wait for one more minute. Everyone start counting down.
Well, the world keeps giving you interesting things to talk about and compare to the Constitution, John. You never have any lack of material, I don't think.
I know, and I'd like to keep myself a week ahead. Have a week of emails ahead, and things are happening so fast. I'm not down to like 2 days ahead. I'm just 2 days ahead, and things are. And the thing is, I actually stopped it because things were happening so fast. I wanted to make sure, like, I didn't want to write something and then people go, "Hey, that happened a week ago." I mean, when you write about the Constitution, you can write about something that happened last century, and people go, "Well, yeah, it's okay, that's all right." But the way things are going now. All right, we're 2 minutes in. I think anybody that's not here is not here. And
That's
so
a good point.
So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do a little review. The review, since the only thing we've done so far, is that somebody else that wants to come on here? Hang on. Here, I'm going to share. No, I can't share yet. I can't share yet because I have to be able to look at, sorry. I have to be able to look and see if somebody else, yes. All right, Susan Hodge is waiting. All right, we're going to wait for this for another 2 minutes, a minute or two. Okay.
And Kevin?
Hi, Susan. And Susan is connecting to audio.
She's muted.
Oh, yes. Susan is muted. All right. Can you hear us, Susan? Okay,
You're
you
muted.
can just nod
Still
your head or
muted.
something. Or you can unmute
Okay,
yourself.
now I'm
Yes.
unmuted.
Good, very good. All
Hi,
right.
Joel.
Hi, Susan.
All right. All right, so
can hear
we're
you.
going to start with a review
Turn your speaker on.
because because that's how we usually do it. And as you know, we're traditionalists here. We always do the way it's always been done. So the only thing that what we've covered so far is the definition of republic. So who wants to take a shot at defining a republic? Okay, Joel.
It's a non-natural constructed form of government that is a blend of the three natural forms of government: a monarchy, an aristocracy, and a democracy.
Good. All right. Does anybody want to add anything to that?
Works for me.
Works for me too. Yeah, Howard.
I will add that it is from the Latin res publica, which means things public. And at least in the present age, they're usually written. I believe I don't know if there were written constitutions in Athens or not.
No.
But certainly the British never had a written constitution, so whatever they believe can be changed at any time. It's at least harder to change the agreement here in the United States. If it isn't written, it isn't true, and sometimes it's written and fudged. Yeah,
There is
fudged.
that because we can redefine what words mean. Exactly right. The Constitution of the United States was the first written constitution that we know of. So I'm going to share a screen here to ask an impertinent question. And the impertinent question is right after, in my book, right after we talk about a number of pages about what a republic is and different forms of government and so on. The exercise is the U.S. Constitution sets up a government, a mixed republic. So what do you think might represent now a republic or a mixed government has three branches in it? There's the aristocratic, the monarchical, and the democratic forms of government. So does anyone want to take a shot at what do you think might represent the Democratic, let's just start with that. What's
Sure.
the Democratic branch of the US government?
That'd be
Yeah,
the
Marty.
Congress. The Congress.
Good. Okay, would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, because they're the closest to the people. They're the ones that, especially the House, they're the closest to people, that they have the majorities and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, good. And the way you can tell that it's Democratic is because anytime something happens in Congress, it takes a majority rule. And so it's run by the majority, and so that's Democratic. All right, what would be the monarchy, the monarchical form of the government? I'm going to give somebody else a chance, Marty.
That would be,
Yeah, is that Howard that's speaking?
that's Howard.
Yeah, good, okay.
Okay, well, the monarch would be the executive branch, the president.
Okay, and how could you tell that that's the monarchical form?
Well, mono means one, I believe, in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
The Swiss have a different arrangement. They have a executive body, and one guy is the monarch 1 year, and they shift it around 7 years, 7 council members.
Mm-hmm.
And in case of extreme emergencies like World War I, World War II, Napoleon, no, the cantons came in after Napoleon. They would create a supreme leader who I don't know what the title was, but he was a supreme leader for the duration of the emergency. And then they went back to their
Council.
Rotating council.
Okay, very good. The monarchical form of or branch is indeed the executive, because the president is the head of it. He's the king of that branch. What he says goes, or it's supposed to work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that right, Susan?
Right.
All right.
So where does the aristocratic come in again?
So where does the aristocratic come in? What do you got? What do you got left? And how could the aristocratic form fit that, or does it?
That judicial?
That would be the judicial, exactly right. So you have the judges in the courts, and how is that? How might that be aristocratic?
Lifetime appointments?
Okay. Well, actually, it's not lifetime appointments, but we'll get to that in section 3. In Article 3, what it is appointments for good behavior, as long as the guy's on good
That's true.
behavior.
Ah,
Yeah.
Which tends to be lifetime. But what else might it be? Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
An aristocratic type of government is where you have a certain group of individuals considered to be more capable to take care of the rest of the group and to decide on what's right and wrong and how things should move forward or backwards. So that's what the judges do. They decide what's right and wrong ultimately, and how things should be executed from the executive branch and Congress.
Okay, good. Good. And one of the important parts of, and what makes an aristocracy have any value at all, is that they kind of protect the little people. That's, when you have the farmers out in their fields, but then the Huns come in on horseback and are going to trample everything. They run into the castle, and the aristocrats protect them. And I liken that to being in court, where you have this person who's a regular citizen, and he gets trampled on by the executive branch. The police come and they try to beat him up or whatever, and he runs to the courts to get protected, and that's what they do. So they are kind of the aristocracy of that. So that's why I think that the courts, the judiciary, is the aristocratic form of government. Anybody have any other ideas on that? I'm perfectly happy to listen to them.
Yes, Howard here. Originally, the Senate was a lot more aristocratic. They were appointed by the state legislatures of their states. The 17th Amendment changed that, and you had popular election of the senators, and I don't really see how that has much improved things, really.
Oh,
Okay, well, I don't either.
6-year term, by the way.
Yep, that's right. When we, well, now this is the way I look at it, and Marty is right that the Congress is Democratic, and that's both houses are Democratic because both of them are based on majority rule. The House represents the people, and so it's apportioned among the people, but the Senate is apportioned among the states, so they represent the states. And it therefore takes a majority of the states for anything to be decided. And that was on purpose. So it's still part of the Democratic branch of government, but it is the more aristocratic part of the Democratic branch. Yes, that I agree with that. All right,
Okay.
We're good with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. So is there anything else we need to review before we move on? Okay. And Kevin, unfortunately, I can't. I do not know how to work the chat while I'm sharing my screen. So Kevin and Sean, unfortunately, I can't hear you.
Kevin looked muted also.
No, he is.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I was muted as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So,
No, I'm good.
okay, good. And I'm going to stop sharing for a moment to go see if Kevin has said anything. No, Kevin seems to be
Sean coming in.
coming right along with us. All right.
Kevin and Sean are muted.
Right. Sean goes back to being muted because Sean, I don't know, has a dog barking in the background or something. I'm not sure, but that's fine. Sean, I love you. Kevin too. Kevin too. All right.
The feeling's mutual. Carry on.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to, and Kevin did send me a text, did send me a chat and said, yes, no problem. We're going on. Okay. Now, as you may have noticed, what I'm sharing on the screen is my copy of the Constitution Study Guide, of which most of you have a copy of it. You can follow along in your own books. And now we're going to move down to page 28. The Constitution of the United States. That's what we're going to start talking about now. And this is page 20. In framing a government, the greatest difficulty lies in this: you must first enable the government to control the governed. That's why you have a government. And in the next place, you have to oblige it to control itself, which is of greater difficulty. So now we're going to do the preamble. The preamble was written actually after the Constitution, because they got all the Constitution together and then they said, it's just starting out with Article 1 is kind of just sudden. It would be much better if we let people know, why are we doing this? What's this about? What are we doing? And so on. So they decided to stick a preamble in front of it so that people would have would kind of be able to ease into it. I sent out during the week. I sent out a video. I sent out in one of my emails, in one of my daily emails. I linked to a video of where the preamble is explained. Did anyone happen to go there and watch that video?
I did not.
Okay.
Nor did I.
Me?
Okay.
Nope.
Howard didn't.
Well, okay, you guys. It's all right. That's all right. I know. Susan wanted to, but okay. All right. That's all right. I was just giving you I was just giving you a link so that when you came to this group, you could like be really smart. Act like really smart. Okay.
I promise to study in the week next time, okay?
It's all right, Howard. It's all right. I'll be sending out sometime during the week. One of my emails will have the link to the Article 1, Section 1. Well, unless maybe we do it today. I don't know. But we're going to do the preamble. Everybody can see the screen.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, so we're going to start from, let's see. You have Joel.
Yes.
I want you to read the first line of that.
The first line or the first, what's on the screen?
The first line.
Or the first line, we the people of the United States.
Right. So this is not the states that are making this. This is not the grand poobahs of each state. This is not Thomas Jefferson. This is not George Washington that is putting together this thing. It is we the people. There are a number of really interesting reasons why you say we the people, but the first one is because it's describing that this is going to be res publica, a thing of the people. Just like the Romans had the res publica, this is a republic that's going to be defined here, and we the people is what lets you know that it is that it is a republic that we're talking about. And it's not just any people. It's not the people of France. It's not the people of, dare I say, Mexico. It's not the people of any place else. It's the people of the United States who are going to form this thing. There is one other, oh, you know what? You know what I ought to do? You know what I ought to do? I ought to go find that. I ought to go find that video, and we'll just play that video. You know,
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think that's what I should do. Is I should just go find that video and play that video. So let me go do that, and you can all go talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Well, all right. The Mexican, the country of Mexico, the people call themselves the United States of Mexico.
Yes, they do. Estados Unidos de Mexico. Exactly. And that's a takeoff on us.
Yes.
They were so taken with what happened here. They, after our Constitution was made, almost every country in the world now has a constitution and at least on paper, Republican form of government that's based basically on our Constitution, which may even the Soviet Union had that.
Nice. What opinion leaders we are.
Yes, we are. We really wowed the world with this one.
Does anybody know who wrote the preamble? Well, I mean, I don't know if it's important. I don't know the answer. I'm just curious.
I've heard that it was Governor
Morris.
Morris, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
There's a website. Chris Ann Hall's talked about it. And I've got it somewhere, but it shows who all contributed and what they contributed in. Morris, I believe, was the one that did the handwriting on the.
That's right.
On the,
Yes.
yeah. So.
He's Mr. Penmanship. That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't Madison considered to be the father of the Constitution? I'm not disputing the point that was just made.
Yeah,
but,
he is. I think mostly that is because he's the guy. Number one, he took all the notes at the convention, and he's the one that kind of pushed it through and said, "Hey guys, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this."
Okay.
I mentioned it to John recently. just finished reading a little while ago Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, which is a
Yeah.
700 plus page book with large pages and small type. But I found it fascinating. I don't have the means to cross-check everything he said there, but Alexander Hamilton according to him, did an awful lot of the writing, and was very adamant about a lot of the points that we consider to be important in the Constitution. And the author's feeling was that he was he was a very controversial character during his lifetime, and because he died early, Madison and later on was not his friend, and Jefferson never had been particularly, that they had another 50 years to badmouth him. So Hamilton's stature has been lowered as a result of not being able to defend himself back in the early 1800s. But it's an interesting book. If you're interested in the Constitution and whatnot, there's an awful lot in there.
What's he called? Called Hamilton?
It's called Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, Chernow.
Cool.
Okay. Now he was in the Army. Wasn't he Washington's main guy, the aide
Yes.
de camp?
He's aide de camp,
Yes.
yes, he was.
He was, yes.
He was very aberrated.
along with-
Hamilton or
Mhm,
Alexander
Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
All
okay.
right, tell me if you can hear this. I'm not sure how this is going to come out. And maybe everyone can, well, tell me, all right, just make,
I see the picture word by word, part 3, the preamble.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Right, so here we go. I'm going to, I want to make sure that you can hear it. So you can nod or something like that, because I can see some of you.
This is your government. That means you own it.
Own it.
The
A
owner's
little
manual
low, but I can hear it.
is the U.S. Constitution.
Thank you.
Agree. Me too. Oh,
Okay.
here's the audio. Where did that go?
What is the Constitution? Well, you can go to the National Archives and you can look at it along with the Declaration of Independence, but what is it? Well, first of all, it's a piece of paper. It has writing on it. This writing is so important that it tells police officers what they can and cannot do. And it tells the government what it can and cannot do. So it must have some kind of legal sense to it. Now, there's all kinds of legal documents. There's contracts, and there's declarations, and there's proclamations, and there's laws and regulations. And when you get to court, there's all kinds of affidavits and motions. And yikes, what does all this have to do with the Constitution? Well, the Constitution is a very special kind of legal document. It's called a charter. It comes from the Latin carta, which meant a piece of paper. Governments use charters to grant rights or property to individuals or groups. For instance, the school district, and therefore the school, have a charter. Many towns and companies also have charters. The charter says basically, we have the right to exist. Now, charters follow a usual format, and we can go back and use the Magna Carta, which is the Great Charter from 800 years ago, and be able to see what a charter has to have in it in order to be a charter. At the beginning of this charter, King John says, John, by the grace of God, King of England, Lord of Ireland, and then a whole bunch of other titles he had. Then he addresses the people that he's talking to, and finally he gets down to it and he says, we have granted. He uses the royal we, and then he says what it is, the specific things that he is granting. So a charter has to have two things. It has to first say who it is that's granting these things, in other words, what the government is. And secondly, it has to say what it is that is being granted. Now we can talk about the Constitution of the United States. We, the people, are the government. You and I and our neighbors. We're the ones that are the government, but not just everyone. Of the United States. So it's only those that are in the United States. It's not those that are in England or France or any place else. So now we've named who the government is. So now we're going to talk about what we're going to grant. We are going to ordain, which means to enact a law. So therefore, whatever it is that we're going to do is going to have the force of law. And establish, it says, which means that we are going to put something together. But whatever it is that we're going to put together is going to have the force of law. It means that we can change it perhaps, or it can be changed, but it's going to be difficult to change it. So what are they going to ordain and establish? We are going to ordain and establish this Constitution. Now, at the time when the Constitution was written, the states had just thrown off the King of England, which was their chartered government before. And they were now making their own governments. And each state was coming up with its own constitution. That is to say that they were looking at and figuring out what was going to constitute the apparatus of their government, of them being able to govern themselves. So when we were going to write this Constitution, it was not going to be the Constitution for any particular state. It was going to be a Constitution for all of the United States together as a single unit. So now we have named who the governing body is, we the people, and we have named what we are going to grant, this Constitution for the United States of America. But before we got into that, we wanted to give the reasons for it, because this is what is called the preamble to the Constitution. Now, a preamble is what you say before you actually do something. For instance, I could simply raise my hand right now, or I could tell you I'm going to raise my hand, and then when I raise my hand, it's not a big surprise. So a preamble is a good idea. So what they wanted to do in this preamble is they wanted to say why we are going to grant this Constitution. The first thing that they wanted to do was, because they were all states and they had gotten together and they had just fought a war for independence, but there was friction between them. It's just like when you have your friends and your friends are in a place for perhaps a party or something, there can be some friction, but you would like to have everybody get along with each other. You would like to have everybody have fun and be able to talk to each other and have a good union, not be all at each other's throats all the time. So what they wanted to do, they recognized they had a union of sorts in order to fight off this British crown, but they wanted to be able to have a more perfect union. And that was one of the reasons that they wanted to have this Constitution. Not only did they want the states to have a more perfect union, but within the states, they wanted to make sure that the people would be able to pursue their happiness. The first step to pursuing happiness is to establish justice, which means that when you do something good, you are rewarded for it. And when somebody else does something bad, then they get punished for it. Then the punishment needs to fit the crime, and the reward also needs to fit how good the action was that you did. After they've established justice, then they have to make sure that not only is it just for you, but also it's just for this person over here and that person over there. Because although I may have justice, if this person doesn't over here, he's liable to start a rebellion or something. And in order for me to have tranquility in my life, in order for me to have a calm life, I need everyone to have justice. So the next step after establishing justice is to have some kind of domestic, which means within the borders of the country, some domestic tranquility. After we have that, then we want to make sure that we don't get invaded from somebody else outside, which is going to disrupt our tranquility. And so we have common defense that we want to do. After we have all of that settled, we want to provide for some kind of prosperity for everybody, to make sure that everyone can be prosperous. But we're not going to provide it, we're going to promote the general welfare, and general welfare there just means the welfare of everyone, not a specific welfare of this person or that person, but that everyone has an opportunity to prosper. So these 5 things that we want a more perfect union, we want to establish justice, we want domestic tranquility, we want to provide for the common defense, and also promote the general welfare, these blessings of liberty, these good things that come to us because we are at liberty to do things, we want to make sure are not just for ourselves, but also for our, to carry on for our children and their children and their children, our posterity. So that is what this Constitution is for, is so that we, the people, can govern ourselves, and it creates an apparatus for us to be able to do that. There's much more to know about it, of course, but it's easy to start. The Constitution fits on just a few sheets of paper. And while you're studying it, make sure you get the words defined that you're not sure of, as we covered in the previous video of this series, and as we did in this video. So now, let's read the beginning of the U.S. Constitution, and you can read along with me. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more
perfect union,
establish
justice,
ensure
ensure domestic tranquility,
provide
for the common defense,
promote
general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity.
do
Ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America.
They were about to set up a new form of government. But what form of government would it be? Would it be a democracy or a republic or what? Watch the next series in this video to find out what the different forms of government are and which one they chose.
Yay.
Yay!
Good job, John.
We lost Joel, I think.
Oh, I guess we did, didn't we? Oh, that's right. He said he was going to have to leave at 4:30 anyway, so that's fine.
Okay.
Now, that was originally made in 2015 for, because the local high school here, I knew the principal of the high school, and he wanted to have something to show for Constitution Day, September 17th. And he asked me if there was any video around that I could get off the internet or something to be able to have an assembly for his kids. And I couldn't find anything, so I made that, or one very much like that, very quickly. And they showed it in an assembly, and my granddaughters were there. And
Wow.
they said their friends came up to them afterwards and going, "Is that you, Grandpa?" And they were going, "Yeah." So I can embarrass grandchildren without even trying, which is good because that's my job, you know.
Right.
Sure.
So anyway, that's what it is about. That's what the preamble is about. It lets you know why we're doing this thing. It's an introduction to it, and it also is very necessary because this is a charter, so you have to name in it who it is that's the sovereign that's granting these things. So you had to have that. If you just start off with Article 1, bang, it's like, well, who's doing that? What authority do they have? And
Well, it's we the people.
this tells you what the authority is. I'm sorry, Howard?
We the people.
Yes, correct. Exactly right. Exactly right.
I have a question, please.
Yep.
I have not read the book. I think I bought it one time and it's misplaced around my house somewhere. It's called The Constitution of No Authority by Lysander Spooner.
Yeah.
Anybody know anything about that?
I'm
Marty,
I'm
John?
I'm a little familiar with Lysander Spooner. He was a writer from I think it was the 1900s, was he not? Late 1900s?
I think it was the 1800s, but not important.
1900. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. 1800s. I meant 19th century. You're right. 19th
Yeah.
century. I'm getting my centuries mixed up. 'Cause
You live long enough, that happens.
What millennium are we in now? My
Yeah,
goodness.
really.
So,
21st.
I mean, this behind me, it's the top shelf there. All of those books, they're all Constitution books by different authors, different ideas about it, and so on. So, I don't think I've seen his. But was there something particular you wanted to bring up about him?
Well, no. I wanted to know if anybody else knew anything more about it than I do. But his argument, as I sort of absorbed it, is that, hey, we are generations away from the founders. Therefore, their document ruled and was ordained for their generation. Ain't got nothing to do with us. We're 2 centuries plus later. So it has no binding authority over me and thee.
Okay, that's why I haven't had anything to do with him, because what he's saying there is not true.
Yeah.
This has basic not understandings, but it's built on basic principles of human nature and the way people act. And because of that, it's designed in such a way as to make sure that no one branch of government can lord it over the others and be able to take all power, total control. And that's the design of it. As things change, you have to make changes, but it doesn't mean that that's all old hat and we don't do it anymore.
I think distribution of power is a wonderful idea. It's worked and worked. What was the other?
I could just interject a question mark there, Howard.
One other thing, we
Sure.
have modified it with the amendments.
Yes, we have. Okay. And
that's all.
And that's why Article 5 exists, is because they knew that it wasn't perfect and it would change, and we would discover new things and new things would come up. And so it would need to be amended, and they wanted to make it available. They wanted to make it so that it could be amended. Yes, Sean.
It's funny that you say that, Howard. I've never studied Spooner, but when I was young, my father studied him extensively, and he raved about what a constitutionalist he was.
Mm.
So what was the name of the book that you were referring to?
I believe it's called The Constitution of No Authority.
Okay.
You could find it under Lysander Spooner on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure that's the title.
Okay.
Lysander, Lysander Spooner.
Right, Lys, right.
Marty has a word?
Well, Wikipedia says Spooner's influence extends, let's see, he says his writings were a major influence on Austrian school economist Murray Rothbard and right libertarian law professor. He's one of the big libertarians. So he had some influence there. That's all.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, all that I had intended to do was do the preamble today.
Okay.
And we can come back and do stuff next week. Susan, you have anything you want to talk about, do, say? Or?
Well, just that I actually did look at your video earlier.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So I actually saw it as well.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad you did. Number of times over, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was good. It's very good.
All right.
I got some value out of looking up the word ordain in the glossary at the end of the book, John. I don't know. I'd kind of like to discuss the progressive, quote unquote, progressive amendments to the Constitution, which would be 16 through 19.
Yeah.
But that's sort of hither and yon, far, far away, maybe.
We'll get to them.
All right. I think you could cancel about 3/4 of those, and we'd be doing a lot better than we are.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I have no comment. I'm just. I just present this stuff.
You're the presenter.
And especially when we get to them, we'll discuss them in more detail.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Well-
Anything else? All right. Marty is advertising for me. Thank you, Marty.
Of course.
Yeah.
Get the book.
All right, good. All right, well, it's been 45 minutes. Is that good enough for you guys?
Isn't that?
Good enough.
I always want more.
Well, good. I have to leave you wanting more. You'll be back next week.
Leave me wanting more. Okay. Very smart guy.
Make you come back next week for more. All right, guys.
Ah,
Thank you very much, John.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
John, everyone.
Oh, by the way, let me ask you this. How's this Sunday, 4 o'clock? How's that working out for you?
Good.
Okay.
That happens to work out well this time. I sometimes have a fluctuating schedule, but good enough for now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It works well for me since I haven't worked in the last 4 months, and I
Oh,
might
goodness.
someday actually go back and work at Santa Anita Racetrack.
Okay, good.
Oh,
All right. All right.
Someday.
Okay. Thank you.
Any final words for anybody? Susan, Kevin, you can send me a chat. Perfect for you, Kevin. Thank you very much. All right. Susan,
hey,
anything?
thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, you're very welcome. All right, I'm gonna shut this thing down. We'll talk
All right.
talk to you next
Bye
week.
for now.
All right,
Ciao for now, y'all.
thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.